When the horror film Obsession made its industry debut at the Toronto International Film Festival, it proved that Inde Navarrette was capable of carrying a massive cultural phenomenon on her own. This comparison illustrates a massive return on investment. On a budget of less than $1 million, the film generated $151 million globally, marking it as a significant box office anomaly. Before this breakout success, Navarrete spent 4 years playing variations of the supportive television love interest. Her roles in 13 Reasons Why and Superman Lois established her as a familiar face, but one largely confined to secondary romantic subplots. Navarrete was born in Tucson, Arizona, but her home was rarely permanent. As a child in a military family, she attended 11 different schools across the entire country before she turned 15. To navigate those constant relocations, she began reinventing herself with every new school. She eventually adopted the nickname Inde, a reference to her independent personality, as a way to assert her identity in unfamiliar environments. This early childhood habit of discarding her social persona to survive new surroundings likely informed her entire approach to Hollywood. She didn't just play a new character, she abandoned the supportive archetype entirely to explore something that was far more aggressive. Director Curry Barker wanted the horror to feel uncomfortably close, so he banned the use of CGI or AI to manipulate Navarrette's facial expressions or her vocal performance. This commitment to practical effects made scenes like the car window smash particularly grueling. These repetitive impacts were captured in camera to ensure the audience felt the physical weight of the violence. Navarrette performed the stunt herself in a single take. To protect her during the impacts, the production hid a helmet underneath her character's wig. The character's erratic, inhuman movements were developed through a mirroring process. Navarrette and Barker stood opposite each other on set, mimicking each other's body language to find a truly unsettling movement style. The result is a performance that feels raw and unpolished. Wish Nikki is terrifying because her movements and expressions are humanly possible, even if we look unrecognizable. To ground the character's descent, Navarrette utilized a specific set of cinematic anchors that prioritized raw vulnerability over typical horror tropes. She looked to Mia Goth's performance in Pearl to understand how to maintain a humane mania even as the character's actions became monstrous. Navarrette also studied Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman, specifically the way she balanced a quiet, vengeful vulnerability with moments of sharp intensity. Inhabiting that mindset had an immediate mental cost. Navarrette eventually stopped looking in mirrors to avoid seeing the character's expressions, and she kept every light in her house on, resulting in a $350 electricity bill. Portraying the role meant staying in that heightened state of fear even after cameras stopped rolling. After 14-hour night shoots, Navarrette established a strict protocol to shed the character and return to reality. That process began in her 21-year-old vintage convertible. She drove with the top down, using the night air to physically distance herself from the set. For her auditory palate cleanser, she blasted early 2000s dad rock like Creed. These familiar melodies formed a mental barrier, transitioning her to reality. Surviving a role this intense requires more than just talent. It requires a commitment to the mundane rituals that bring you back to yourself. While Nikki's actions provide the scares, the film's thematic argument focuses on Bear. It functions as a critique of the nice guy entitlement often found in toxic relationships. Bear is the central antagonist. He weaponizes a supernatural wish to strip Nikki of her bodily autonomy, and his refusal to respect her free will is the actual source of the film's horror. Off-screen, Navarrette has completely moved past that trauma. Her calm, grounded presence today is a sharp departure from the volatile energy she brought to the role of Nikki. She now spends her time painting and catching up on anime, like Jujutsu Kaisen. Having proved she can handle psychological horror, she's already preparing for action roles, specifically aiming for a part as a highly capable assassin. Inde Navarrette took a massive risk to break out of her box and delivered a powerful performance in the process.